The hour before dawn. The sound that woke Lena was not the expected cacophony of sirens, but a brittle, wet smash from the street below, immediately followed by a sound she now knew, with cold certainty, was the end of the world. A guttural, hungry moan. She lay absolutely still on the splintering floorboards of the abandoned second-floor bookstore, her spine pressed against the dusty wood, gripping the rusty wrench she'd named Faith. Her heart was a frantic drumbeat against the silence she had fought so hard to find. It was the 5th week since the Crimson Rot, the plague that didn't kill its victims, but reset them, turning them into ravenous, relentless engines of pure hunger, had swept the globe. Lena, a former high school chemistry teacher, was now just another shadow trying to outlast the dawn in a dead city. The street below her window, normally a vibrant artery of traffic and noise, was now a silent, debris-strewn cemetery. The smash she heard was likely a desperate scavenging attempt gone wrong. And the moan, it was close. She crawled to the window, avoiding the weak spots in the floor, and carefully peered through a gap in the blackout curtains. Below, the first sliver of sickly gray dawn painted the narrow alleyway. And there they were. A cluster of 4 rotters, that was the slang for them, short for flesh rotters, were moving with the shuffling, uncanny momentum of corpses. Their skin was an alarming purple red, stretched tight over bone, and their eyes were milky white discs. They were drawn by the smell of fresh air and spilled blood. The 4 rotters gathered around the cause of the noise. A young man, perhaps a college student, lying motionless with a small, overturned backpack beside him. He hadn't just smashed something, he'd likely fallen from a low fire escape. He was still whole, but still. Then, one of the rotters leaned down, and the terrible, tearing sound of wet consumption began. The moaning intensified, no longer a random cry, but a focused, chilling song of appetite. Lena had to leave. Now. She knew the rules of survival in the city. Never be predictable. Never let them catch you in the open during the day. And never, ever stay in one place once you've been heard. Her plan had been simple. Cross the city to the abandoned University Science Wing. The old labs there were rumored to still hold viable research samples and, more importantly, a Geiger counter and a sealed, underground bunker designed for radiation emergencies. A perfect, solid sanctuary against the horde. The journey was 3 miles, a nightmare in normal times, suicidal now. She gathered her minimal gear. The wrench, 2 cans of stale peaches, a half-full water bottle, and the small, leather-bound book her father had given her, containing the handwritten formulae for hundreds of chemical reactions. Knowledge is protection, he'd always said. Now it might be her only weapon. She moved to the back of the building, toward the roof access, but the rotting scent was already drifting up the stairwell. They were faster than they looked. The sound had attracted nearby groups. The front window is too high. The back stairs are blocked. Lena's mind raced, discarding options with the cold efficiency of a broken heart. There was only one way out. The fire escape of the adjacent office building, separated from the bookstore by a narrow, 9-foot gap. It was a leap of pure desperation. A high-stakes gamble she wouldn't have considered 6 weeks ago. She kicked out the boarded-up window facing the gap. The air rushed in, cold and sharp. The zombies below heard the noise. The moans swelled, and 2 rotters started shuffling around the corner of the alley, looking up. Lena strapped her pack tight, held the wrench high, and took one deep, ragged breath. She had to jump the gap, traverse the adjacent rooftop, find the service lift, and descend into the sewer access tunnel. the only safe route across the core of the city. She gripped the edge of the sill, the hungry sound below filling her ears. "Not today," she whispered to the rising sun, to the rot, and to the death below. She pushed off with every ounce of strength she had, leaping across the 9-foot void toward the pitted steel railing of the fire escape, determined to survive the first, terrifying hour of her final journey.
Summary.
The Tunnel of Trials. Approx. 4 minutes of reading. The descent. Lena successfully makes the leap, scales the office building, and finds a way to the subterranean sewer access. The sewers are darker, wetter, and quieter than the surface, but far more dangerous due to flooding and the potential for specialized waterlogged rotters, known as sluicemen. The formula, trapped by a dead end and several sluicemen, Lena remembers a formula from her father's book for a quick-acting, non-lethal, highly corrosive acid. She uses the chemicals she scavenged, battery acid from a rusted truck and simple cleaning agents, to create a makeshift booby trap, melting a hole in a metal grate to escape the trap. This demonstrates that her mind is her ultimate weapon. The companion. She encounters Marcus, a former maintenance worker, injured but alive, who is trying to find his way to the same university bunker. Marcus is practical and strong, providing a necessary counterpoint to Lena's intellectual focus. They reluctantly agree to travel together, recognizing that 2 survivors are better than 1. The University Siege. Approx. 3 minutes of reading. The destination. They reach the perimeter of the University Science Wing, which is surrounded by a vast, shifting horde, the largest Lena has ever seen. The main gate is impossible. The distraction. They used Marcus's knowledge of the utility tunnels to find a hidden entry near the old boiler room. To draw the horde away from their entrance, Lena devises a large-scale chemical distraction, using stored industrial chemicals to create a plume of brightly colored, foul-smelling smoke, diverting the rotters' limited attention. The final obstacle. They make it into the science wing, but find the entrance to the underground bunker is sealed with a modern electronic lock. Lena realizes the power is routed through a vulnerable exterior generator, now guarded by the last remaining sentry rotter, a freshly turned security guard, still wearing his armor, which makes him incredibly difficult to kill with blunt force. The Sanctuary and the Choice. Approx. 2 minutes of reading. Climax. Lena and Marcus execute a desperate plan. Marcus distracts the armored rotter, using his strength and knowledge of the building layout. Lena sprints to the exposed power generator, using the last of her acid solution and a piece of metal conduit to short-circuit the generator, disabling the power, the security, and the armored rotter simultaneously. The descent. The bunker door clunks open. They rush inside, pulling the heavy blast door shut just as the horde, attracted by the generator explosion, descends upon the lab above. The resolution. Safe in the reinforced darkness, Lena and Marcus find the Geiger counter and the stocked supplies. They are safe for now, but the silence is heavy. Lena opens her father's book. The final pages contain not a formula, but a small, hand-drawn map of the city, with a single note beneath the university. The cure is not a chemical. It is community. Epilogue. Approx. 1 minute of reading. The theme. Lena realizes their survival depends not just on the bunker's concrete walls or her chemical knowledge, but on the trust they've built. The story ends with Lena and Marcus beginning to ration supplies and plan their long-term survival, their faces illuminated by the faint, eerie glow of the Geiger counter. They look at the city map, knowing their journey is far from over, but that they face the terrifying reality of the new world together.